Alright, here we go. Matt from Nerd Knights Painting, episode 10, Munchkin Dungeon. We're going to be doing the elf that I think was from the extra stuff if you did the Kickstarter or something, but he's like a OP character if you played it. So we're going to be turning that ugly piece of gray model using the card provided in the box to make it into an actually fairly decent model with just a few easy steps. And voila! Ooh, not too shabby if you're telling me. So we're going to be using some easy techniques. If you've been following this channel, you've been following Munchkin Dungeon, there's not a whole lot of things going on with these models. They're not my favorite models, but they're cartoony just like Munchkin, so it's perfect. The backside is going to be just like the front. Hey, if this is your first time coming to this channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's do it. Let's go. We're at 192 followers, which it's good. Let's get it to 200 by the end of this video to produce what we got going on next. Next week, I think we're going to be doing a little the last one of Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. So make sure you subscribe so you can see that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's go. First thing we're going to be hitting is going to be the face, hands, and the back of the head and the ears using a little Bugman's Glow. If you get a little bit over the edge, not a big deal. We're just going to be hitting that real quick and make sure we're thinning our paints. Like I always say, I use a wet palette. I should do a video on how to do a wet palette. If you have questions, maybe leave a comment below if you don't know how to use an actual wet palette, what you're doing. I'll make a video about it. For the hat and the tunic, and even I guess you could say the leggings, you don't have to do the leggings, we're going to hit that here in a second. We're going to be using a little Caliban Green. Yeah. We're going to be hitting the top portion. Be careful on the hat, because obviously you just did the face. Same with the hands. And as you can see, if you're thinning your paints correctly, this goes on very clear. It's translucent because you have a white primer. And obviously we primed it in white. So it's going to take 2 to 3 coats. We'll do that in a second. This is going to take a second to dry. So while that's dry, we're going to do something else just to kind of speed up the process. We're not here to stay all day and stare at it. We're going to move on. Get these models painted, get them on the table. While that green is drying, we're going to be using a little Mournfang Brown on the quiver and the shaft of the bow. Be a little careful. Obviously that green is still wet. It's going to take a minute to dry. We're going to need 2 to 3 coats on that green. The brown I think only took 1 coat. It was maybe 2. But I think it was only 1 coat that we needed to do it. It stuck pretty good, and it wasn't as transparent as the green. Alright, since that Caliban, whatever it is now dry, go ahead and hit that back over with another coat. I think it took 2 coats for us, or for me. I say us, but it's just me. I don't know, that's weird. For the fletching of the arrow, and the arrow itself, the shaft, and the fletching on the arrow that he's holding, and the bowstring, it's going to be all black. So we're going to hit that with a little model color black. If you have Abaddon black or some other, it's just straight black. There's nothing crazy about it. Now I know the angle sucks, but we're going to be using a little Skrag Brown for the leather portions, the belt, and I guess that would be like a chest belt. Sure, it's going around. I know that the angle sucks. I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't beat me. Don't yell at me. I'm working on it. Trying my hardest here. Hit those spots with Skrag Brown. Just be careful. Use a small size brush. I use a size, I think, 10-0 brush. For the tiniest belt buckle in the world, we're going to be using a little Retributor Armour. For the arrow tip, I guess you could say broadhead, it's going to be a little Leadbelcher. For the boots, we're going to be using a little German Grey, the Deutschland, just because it's October, one of my favorite times of the year because of Oktoberfest. Too bad it's all shut down because of the virus. I'm going to throw my own Oktoberfest tonight. Little bush, little sausage, little Oktoberfest by Sam Adams. I don't know. Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know if there's enough time. For the leggings or tights, we're going to be using a little Moot Green. Alright, let's shade that skin. Reikland Fleshshade. Face, ears, back of the head, hands, we're doing it all. For all the green pieces, we're going to be using a little Biel-Tan Green, or Biel-Tan Green, or whatever you want to pronounce it. You don't need to get the leggings if you don't want to. I don't think I did. I didn't. And it's fine because we're going to be doing a little Moot Green with some Lahmian Medium coming up. That's what's going to give us that green tone. As if we're looking at the card and you can see, wow, it's kind of a moodish greenish on all of the tunic. We're gonna get that going here. We're gonna do several layers. We'll show you how it's going on. Just give us a minute. For the brown and black bits, we're going to be using a little Agrax Earthshade. Again, if this is your first time at the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell button so that you know when new videos are being posted. We're trying to build this, and I mean me. So hit that subscribe button. We can't do it without you. And if you enjoy these videos, and maybe you just like to listen to me talk and watch somebody paint because I have a soft voice, hit that subscribe button. Maybe listen to it while you sleep. Maybe I'll put you to sleep. But yeah. So hit the rest of that brown pieces with the Agrax Earthshade, the boots, the fletchings, the arrow, all that. After all of the shade is completely dry, I live in a dry climate, so it actually goes pretty quickly. We're going to start with the skin of Cadian Fleshtone. Now, when you're doing the hands, leave the Reikland Fleshshade that is in the recesses there. Don't do all of it, so just follow what I'm doing. The face, we're getting the top parts. Leave the inside of the ears shaded, and we're going to be doing a lot of the top parts. So make sure we're just following along with what I'm doing and take your time. For this face and the hands and whatnot, I switched to a smaller brush, as you can probably see in the video. Size 5.0 or 10.0 if you want to go smaller than that for doing the highlights. I use Rosemary & Co. brushes because they're not that expensive and they're pretty good. I think my one that I opened up in January that I've been using is about had it. So, man, 9 months, it's pretty good, better than a synthetic brush. Hit the back of those ears and hit the back of the head. It might take 2 or 3 coats and just kind of get that in there. Make sure you're thinning your paints though. For the last skin highlight, we're just going to use some Kislev Flesh. The elf is a pretty fair-skinned creature, if we're talking some lore here. So we're going to hit the tops of the ears, the nose. We're going to be hitting the fingers, the top portion specifically, and the knuckles. And that'll give us a nice transition of highlight from light to medium to dark in the recesses. So don't put too much on there. Don't load up your brush. Don't overkill it. And just follow along what I'm doing. Hit those cheekbones and top of the nose. Don't go crazy with it. Whatever you feel like you need as much highlights, less surface area. In this scenario, less is more. So don't go overboard with it. Now we're hitting those eyes, and those eyes are going to be white. So just hit the insides. As you can see, it's outlined already for you with the Reikland Fleshshade, so just don't go over it. If you do, quickly fix it up with some Kislev Flesh. Once those eyes are completely dry, we're going to take a healthy brushful of Nulin Oil and we're going to dump it right in there. What that's going to do is it's going to escape into the crevices surrounding the eye and the pupil. And that's going to give you a nice spot of where to add the black. And you'll see here in a second how it works. If you've been following this channel, you've been watching the videos, we've been doing it for all the models and it's working pretty well for everything. While that Nulin Oil is drying, we're going to go back over the belt that we hit with the Agrax Earthshade and probably some Biel-Tan Green with Skrag Brown. We're just going to highlight it. So you don't want to cover the entire thing. You just want to hit the top portion of it and leave some of that dark brown like exposed a little bit. And that's going to give you the nice contrast of brown from light to dark. It's going to look real nice. For the top portion of the quiver, we're going to be using a little Deathclaw Brown. That's going to give it some real nice contrast, matching the color that's in the card. For the bow, we're just going to be using a little Doombull Brown. Just hit the front of it. Hey, if you have any requests on what you want me to see paint, go ahead and put it in the comments below. I just want to see what you guys want me to paint. I have a ton of models that I need to be painted, and if we got a break and if somebody requests something, everybody will want to see it, we'll do it. So don't yell at me, I forgot to take a picture of Troll Slayer Orange. We're going to be using an orange and we're going to be hitting the portions of the fletchings on the arrow. So just go around and use your tiniest brush you got. I used 10-0 and pick out some lines. As you can see, that black brought out some lines and just hit some of them up. The eyes are now dry, so we're going to be doing some outlining with black. Get a nice base, 3-point base, elbows on the desk, kind of curled in, get your nice steady base going. Do some outlining of the eyes, and then we're going to be doing some pupils, just black pupils. If you mess up, like I frequently do, just go ahead and fix the lines after they have dried and put some white back in there. And again, take your time and get those black pupils in there. While you got the black out, we're going to trace the mouth. The card art shows he has a black outlining mouth, so we're going to just trace that in there with some black. Take your time, small brush. Take some Ironbreaker, thin down of course, and just hit some edge highlighting. Just hit the top portions of the arrow to kind of give it some contrast. Original base color, Mournfang Brown, to lighten up just a little bit that back side of the quiver. When you get to the cutouts at the top, the, I guess you could say, triangle area, small brush and just don't go all the way in, just leave some of the recesses dark. Take some thinned Loren Forest. We're on the home stretch here, guys. This is the last and final part we're going to be doing to this. Grab some of that Loren Forest and go over the entire body. Hit the entirety of the model. It's going to look like crap at first because it's thinned out, but once you get that second, possibly third coat on, you should be just fine. It is going to take you probably 2 coats. Let the first one completely dry and then add another coat to get it on. And then we're going to thin some Moot Green here in a minute. Okay, 3 parts, so 3 brushfuls of Lahmian Medium. Use a decent sized brush, and 1 brushful of Moot Green. Mix them together in a little well, and we're going to be going over this. It's going to be pretty thin, so we're going to have to work up the layers. Depending on how much you want the Moot Green highlighted is how much you're going to put on there. With the Lahmian Medium, it dries fairly quickly, so put your layer on, let it dry. If you want more, put more. If you want less, don't do any more. So once you do 1 layer, let it dry completely and say, do I like it, do I not like it? It's going to be some type of transparent a little bit, and it's going to have that Loren green kind of sticking out. So that's the kind of look we're going for, because it kind of matches the card art. Focus on getting the top portions, as the sun would hit that more than if it's kind of hidden. We're also going to be spiking up the tights that he has on. I'm focusing on the bottom portion of the tunic, and the collar is more green if we're following the art. And that's it. We're on the final step. Mechanicus Standard Gray, or whatever you want to paint that base. I'm just going basic here. And that's it. We did it. Pretty easy. Not too bad. And when you get on the table, everybody's going to be like, oh man, that looks great. And it does. It looks great. And it wasn't even that bad. We're not trying to do the best job. We're not trying to win competitions here. We're not trying to win the crystal brush competition. We're here to just paint models. Just want to say thank you for watching these videos. Without you, these couldn't be possible. I know I've said it twice already in the video, but if you liked what you see and you enjoy these tutorials, subscribe, because we have a ton of content coming up. Etherfields, Bloodborne, Madar is coming up. I'm going to try and finish as much as I can of Munchkin Dungeon and then move on. So, alright, thanks for stopping by, and paint on.